I think MgmaCHEESE were happy with the bans they got through that draft and should stick to the exact same.
Yeah, I was gonna tell them to do
Concept.
the exact same bans. Um, Unfortunately, I didn't get to type it out in time, but
Shane comes through earlier, but
yeah, let's see if both teams do that. If they don't, that's fine. I'll just let them. I'll let them rock with it how they choose.
so far they do seem to be respecting it with the Malzahar ban and the Mordekaiser ban, as we seen last time. Was a crucial pick for those who know. They might be sad to see it go. Heimerdinger ban comes through again.
We need to see
They do seem
Syndra
to
and
be
Scion
sticking.
banned here. Yep, there's the Scion. And actually, now that I'm looking at it, that means that those who know banned 3 mages. Interesting.
Seems like they don't want to face off against Wave Clear, but very quickly getting back through this draft. Kiana and Pantheon picked him back again.
Yeah, both teams, business as usual, not wasting any time. I'm a little bit surprised that they didn't hover the Pantheon pick for a bit to give their second pick a little bit more time to think.
Especially when they insta-locked in the Nasus last second. They do pick up the Darius, the third highest priority ban of the tournament. However, that doesn't mean that it's anywhere near close to the Trundle and the Yorick. It's only at 5 bans compared to the 11 and 14 coming into today. But it does fit the same style as the Pantheon. If they pick enough a champion of that same style, they could be going for very lame dominance.
Yeah, we've seen lane dominance work before. We've seen a few teams go for that early kill pressure. Also, we've seen success with champions like Warwick. That is a champion who's still up and available. So we could see that classic strategy of win lane, win game.
The Mundo is picked, which means they do have an opportunity for a safe lane against the Pantheon Darius no matter what. And then there's the Volibear, one of the highest picks in the entire tournament. The ability to stop any turret from being able to attack is massive. It allows you to take dives and risks that probably aren't available to most of the team cons. And especially with the Kiana, because if that turret is shut off, that Kiana can burst anyone, and if they don't have to worry about the turret, they might go for some very aggressive dives this game.
And the last
And now we see a
lock-in.
Twisted Fate. Have you seen this pick before?
I believe you may have seen it once in the first round, but not again.
It fits the Pantheon. It does roam relatively well. If you pick up very specific items like Ludens or Static Shift, you can get some wave clear depending on the build variety that you want to go. You can build AD and AP out of it. You might want to prefer the AP this game because of the lack of AP damage from the Pantheon and Darius. And with the Mundo, you're definitely going to want some damage spread available to you. But it does seem relatively weak into the Kiana. And if you don't have gold card available to you, you're very squishy. And the Kiana can feast.
Prediction is up and available. MgmaCHEESE on the blue side this time, those who know on the red side. I actually will have to... I realized I had the logos in the wrong spot now that I'm taking a closer look. I'll fix those when we get into game. What are we thinking of the... What are we thinking about that draft so far? Do you have any favorites?
Prefer those who know this time rather than MgmaCHEESE's, just because it's consistency in how the team wants to play. Yellow card allows the Twisted Fate to work. The Pantheon or the Darius finds any stun from a distance and then locks down the target. The Twisted Fate can keep him there with gold card. It can supply some range damage and is only the only real threat in this game with true range damage consistently. And normally you do see a bit of move speed picked up onto the Twisted Fate. And their roaming potential is massive, but as I said, the Volibear and the Kiana, they can do some amazing dives this game. And with how MgmaCHEESE looks in that first game, they do seem a bit more coordinated than we have seen in the past, but we have also seen them struggle with communication in the past, so it might not be the best pickup for them.
Yeah, I do have to say, I don't know who on MgmaCHEESE will be able to lane against the Darius. I forgot who was on which side for a second there. But Darius looking pretty terrifying against all 3 of those champions. I know that technically, in theory, Mundo can handshake the lane, although it's certainly easier for the Darius to play that side of the matchup. So I think if we're going for lane domination, the Darius is going to feel pretty happy. Pantheon, I should feel pretty happy. I can't guarantee that a Pantheon would be able to beat a Volibear if the Pantheon plays bad and the Volibear plays good, so we'll have to see how that goes. But yeah, I think in general, you know, Twist of Fate presses R on either side lane, and because of Pantheon and Darius' high damage output, that should just be a kill.
Yeah, MgmaCHEESE is gonna want to try and bait a fight at objectives with multiple team people around to take a more even fight. But they might not want to take it very early on in the game because the Pantheon, the Darius, even without items, probably going to be able to out DPS the Qiyana, who is very squishy as well.
And you know me personally, I'm cheering for those who know here because I need these series to last a little bit longer. There's that third series of the day that has TTV Amelia in it. I would be shocked if that one goes to 3. And then the last game of the day, one of the teams said that they're going to be at work until about 9 p.m. tonight. So we need at least a couple of extra games to make sure that that team can play on time.
We do see a lot more of the funny green rune this time around.
This is
Will that
true.
turn into Demolish? I'd expect it to. Especially with Pantheon, Darius, Volibear, and Mundo, all players can benefit from it. I doubt seeing it on the Twisted Fate.
Alright, logos are on their correct sides now. So we can take a look at these runes. Volibear actually opting for the Shield Bash over the Demolish. But for those who know, they do have that triple Demolish.
To be expected. They've prioritized Demolish in the last game as well. Somewhat. Currently, the Qiyana is on the top side of the map.
Yeah.
Which would be laning into the Darius.
I don't really know what the fuck that person's doing. It's fine, it's fine. It's a little bit of a rule breaker.
Seems like the Mundo is going to be going mid into the Twisted Fate. Be interesting to see if they do want to swap any of these lanes. He kind of takes them back after going to the top lane.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess Qiyana probably
with
just
the
had a
minion wave.
massive brain fart, just like AFK to where she would stand in solo queue.
Interesting to see that the Volibear and Darius on the opposite side of the maps are just waiting in the bush, potentially to try and catch out the player. But Pantheon is just going to wait behind turret. Qiyana is just going to end up walking past the Darius, which is giving Darius a very nice trade. Qiyana already down to half HP. Going to probably be able to be zoned off of this wave now.
Yeah, Darius with both flash and ult could maybe look for lethal here as soon as he gets level 2.
Nice shielding from the Volibear means a massive trade onto the Pantheon initially as well.
Yeah, it's that bone plating value.
So
Interesting
good
to see the
quick trade
W start
back.
coming out from Pantheon. Usually not what you would see. You would see a Pantheon take Q level 1 so they can spam the poke, get control of the wave.
But hitting level 2, you'd think the Pantheon is still safe. Instinct gets enough for W trade. The Volibear is able to return the stun, and with the wave in favor, a lot of damage falls down onto the Pantheon now. Qiyana, after leveling up, is relatively healthy and can clear this wave with the AoE as well. Pantheon will have to play this relatively safely though now. Conqueror will only really give effects if he's able to take a sustained trade, but with such low health bar, it'd have to be relatively safe from any burst potential. Qiyana hits level 3 and instantly finds a trade into the wall against the Darius. With it being an extended top lane, might be able to just run it down. Darius does use the ghost and should be able to get out of there. With the Qiyana flashing as well.
4 summoner spells use top lane. The Flash Ignite for the Qiyana and the Ghost Flash for the Darius. And nobody ends up dying.
Twisted Fate does go with the tier start. The mana is going to potentially be a struggle into the Mundo, who has no mana. But he's able to get a nice health bar trade. Same in the bot lane, both players are going really low, but the Pantheon is now on no mana, so might just have to back out of there potentially.
Yeah,
Mundo
it looks
also
like
taking a map on mid lane with the Kiana roaming into mid, potentially trying to find a flank onto the Twisted Fate. Last volley bear stun comes in, the stun just out of turret range and trade from the Pantheon. If that was any closer into turret range, that could have been a kill for the Pantheon. Kiana now also finds the Twisted Fate and forces the flash out, lands the Q, and I don't know which ability that is. Is it the Q?
Yeah, that was the Q. Yeah, her
Roll.
Q throws the thing forward. Her W is a dash that gives her an element for her to throw with her Q. Don't worry though, Kiana definitely one of the more complicated champions to figure out if you haven't seen very much of her, so wouldn't worry about it too much. I would be surprised if we see Kiana again ever, so... But it's going pretty well so far. She was able to get the summoners out of top and then did a little bit of a roam mid lane and got a kill mid, so so far an impressive showing from the roaming assassin.
Did leak some CS to get the roam off, but with the kill, should be about even in gold. If not ahead. With the volley bear having pressure in the bot lane. But the Mundo is very low on farm, so he's rotated into the Darius. Both lanes should at this point with levels be relatively even, but Darius is behind in XP, so we'll want to watch out just in case the Darius gets 6 in an awkward position of wave. We've now also got the first objectives coming onto the map. Currently both side lanes with push. No one quite hitting 6 yet, so the roaming and ultimates aren't available. But Volibear does find a trade onto the Pantheon with the Kiana rushing down there. Pantheon is still got a long way to get back to turret. Volibear is winning these trades as well, but might have to get out of there with the blinking health bars on either sides. Might just be able to leave this to the Kiana, but a nice flash out from the Pantheon. The Kiana goes for the turret dive as well anyway and still gets the kill. And then the disconnect comes out.
Looks like we had a slight pause, but according to the chat I'm looking at here, it looks like they will unpause shortly as the Darius comes back. So, yep, there we go. There's the unpause. That's what that freeze was. There was a pause, however, the pause didn't last long enough for the visual to show up.
It was from the Darius as well, so it shouldn't have affected that play at all. And it does come back into the mid lane, hits the stun onto the Twisted Fate. Twisted Fate also has no flash available, and that's just another kill for this Kiana. 3-0 now. And the OK comes up for the Dr. Mundo in the top lane. Trying to set in some BM at this point into those who know, as we already know from the questioning that they are somewhat facing a little bit of tilt.
Yeah, it's kind of been doing a good job so far, but let's see if she can get out of this Darius roam. Twisted Fate, clicking R.
Does find a caught in the mid lane. Opts to go through the turret with the wave available to her. Finds enough space to get into the enemy jungle. Won't be able to get any help from the Volibear. The Pantheon also ulting in.
Everybody going after the Kiana.
This is a lot of ults used here to catch up to the Kiana, and she's still facing away.
Yeah, just a favor with the blue card.
You gotta think, if the yellow card comes through, maybe the Twisted Fate gets the kill. With the Volibear in range, it should be able to keep the Kiana alive now. And that it does. You gotta think, if the yellow card is used instead of blue, this Kiana is probably dead.
Yeah, Kiana may be a little bit lucky there, but still impressive. Draws the Darius roam, the Twisted Fate ult, and the Pantheon ult, and survives.
Pantheon's gonna have to take a very quick back as well, because he's completely out of mana now. It's gonna give Volibear time to hit onto this turret, eventually get its first play. Darius is low against this Dr. Mundo as well. But the Dr. Mundo doesn't have ult available though.
Yeah, if Darius isn't careful, Mundo could just walk under turret and Q auto E for the kill.
Kiana finds yet another stun in the mid lane. Volibear also going aggressive onto the Pantheon. Now looking to proxy some of the waves. Try and starve this Pantheon to the turret. Darius taking a slightly risky back. Mundo could just throw the suitcase at him.
Yeah, Twisted Fate getting lucky there. Kiana missing the ultimate, so Twisted Fate will survive. But Kiana definitely feeling very confident, very aggressive. Has that Ghost Blade. Maybe looking for some more early runs. Going for the flash route
For the kill.
and the execution.
However, 250 gold bounty already acquired. Isn't going to opt into taking the plates. Pantheon with the roam up as well. Is going to deny plates going down in the mid lane, but that will give some more time for the Volibear in the bot lane. Twisted Fate not quite with ult or TP available. And Darius tries to get a Demolish proc off. That's going to cost him his life as well. A little overextension from the Darius there. But without Ghost as well. Seems the Pantheon is going to look to roam with the Twisted Fate into the top lane, trying to catch this Dr. Mundo off guard. That's going to give Volibear more time on this bottom turret, but it's already starting to leak plates.
Yeah, maybe those who know starting to feel a little bit desperate, feeling like they need to get something done against this snowballing Kiana. But because of that roam, they're leaving Volibear on the bot turret unattended, going to be able to take a few plates.
And they do choose not to go for the gank onto the Mundo as well. Pantheon comes back into the mid lane. There's got to be very careful of the first damage coming out of the Kiana. Facing out the edge of the turret perfectly for the damage trade. Volibear also perfectly safe behind this turret as well. Darius does hit 6, so the levels are evened up. And the item advantage isn't there currently. So Volibear just looking to use the ult to clear the wave. Flash stuns onto the Darius. Very positive trade so far. Pantheon does negate some of the damage and puts a stun onto the Kiana. Keeps it safe for now, but land the ultimate from the Kiana. That's just another kill. Darius is still trying to fight this Volibear. I'm not sure if he wins this fight at this point in the game. Should be able to get to the turret safely though.
Yeah, Darius should win the fight, but it seems like the Volibear is spacing out that passive well. Darius hasn't been able to get any more than 3 or 4 stacks this entire time.
And the Twisted Fate in the top lane is also low on mana in this matchup, and the wave isn't in a good spot for him either right now. Doesn't land the slow onto the Darius this time, but that does mean that the Darius should be safe for now. Twisted Fate with a risky back again. Is forced to stay in the lane probably longer than would really want to at this point. Mundo is just keeping this wave away from the Twisted Fate. The stun land onto Darius isn't really necessarily a kill threat at this point. And the minion tanks the back denial from the Mundo in the top lane as well.
Interesting build coming out from the Twisted Fate. Has that tier Leandries. Just trying to do some more damage to the Mundo and the Volibear, I suppose.
Needs the AP threat rather than the AD build, and still needs to get through a relatively large amount of health. Volibear doesn't have ult, but they still feel confident to go for the dive, and with the damage from the Youmu's, the Kiana nearly gets the kill, but the shutdown's actually going to be acquired. The Pantheon team ults down as well, but the Volibear does seem to be far enough away. They might have to expend Flash here, then they do. Darius is going to come in. Has to be careful with his health bar, but the healing does come through. The ult as well should be able to secure him 2 kills, and that's a massive trade back for those who know. The Twisted Fate has to be very careful with the Void Grubs though, and dies to them solo.
Yeah, maybe Pantheon should have ulted onto the Void Grubs instead. But yeah, nice little swing in tempo in favor of those who know. The Kiana got super overconfident there. Had the W, had the blue W in hand to root the Darius, but instead of going for the safe play of using the EQ, she just opts to chuck the Q as a raw skill shot, misses, and then has nothing left to do under the turret, just dies.
Volibear TP into the bot side, denies the teleport back from the Darius, is gonna get probably a free kill under the turret. Darius is currently spacing out decently well. Doesn't have Ghost available and has almost no mana. It's going to be a long kill to come in, but does eventually get it for the volley bear. And this Mundo is slowly accruing a gold lead, and Kiana just gets enough execution onto the Pantheon under turret.
Yeah, Kiana's Earth Q able to do significantly increased damage to targets that are half health. So if you fall under half health against her, you might wanna think about sticking around at this point.
Still no objective priority coming out from MgmaCHEESE this game. Even though at this point in the game last time they was willing to go for it. Mundo uses the ult and is looking just to run down the Twisted Fate. The yellow card does come out, flashes away, but the Mundo is still got the speed, comes through, kills the Twisted Fate, and the turret on the opposite side also taken by the volley bear. Darius is now going to slowly come down to the bot side, but without the turret available to him, he's going to have to be very careful.
It looks like we're speeding our way to a quick 2-0 here. First game, 20.5 minutes. Let's see what type of game time they can look for in this second one.
Diana also roaming down to join this volley bear. Volleyball doesn't have ult to shut off the turret, but it might just look for the burst. They don't know that the Darius is recalling though, so Darius won't be able to get out of there safe. He tries to get a quick trade on some damage onto the turret. He needs to get out of there before the Kiana can gap close, which he will quickly and swiftly do. And it's still going to go for the chase though. He's able to find the gap close. It's the stun as well. Champion does find a little bit back, but with the ignite as well, that is enough a kill for the Kiana. 7-1-0 now. And with the first turret as well to their side, they have the feats of strength, just giving them a little bit more move speed on their boots for now.
Now,
the option to upgrade later.
One small silver lining for those who know, of course, being that Kiana sucks right now. She's actually like a pretty shit champion at the moment. So who knows? Maybe she'll fall off super hard. But you know, apart from that, not really much hope at all.
Darius also in this bot side. They have a TP coming through. Might be able to find something here onto the Kiana, but is in turret range, and Viper is nearby as well. The stun lands with the flash out from the Kiana, the ultimate from the Volley Bear. Both players just end up dying under the turret trying to get the Kiana. Volley Bear with the decision to come down to the bot lane, saving the Kiana's life there.
Yeah, you know, and I have to say it. I think maybe if the Darius had a little bit better ping, they actually would have gotten that kill. It looked like Pantheon wanted to fully commit under the turret, but Darius only slightly missing that first Q that he would have needed to just like click R for the extra true damage. Maybe a potential ping diff.
Yeah, I believe that they're going to be calling something at this point.
Look at that, Kiana's got the hubris.
7-1-2, Kiana picking up hubris. If she's able to keep getting more kills, and now just going to keep stacking up the advantage. And the Volley Bear is going to take the first Drake relatively late into the game. And the ping onto Atakan does come down as well. This first one being a Cloud Drake is going to give them a little bit more movement speed for this Kiana to keep getting around the map very quickly. Yeah,
Kiana also opting to finish these tier 2 Ionian boots. Those are the ones where if she lands an ability, she gets 10% more movement speed. So really everything right now, just the Ghost Blade, the tier 2 boots, the Cloud Drake, everything, just giving a lot of movement speed to this Kiana so she can run around and kill even more people.
And Mundo is just sat in the bush. Catches the Twisted Fate extending into the lane as the 6th depth now. Sat on this 360 gold tier for ages at this point. Looks to build into the Salt Boots, but then chooses to opt out of it potentially in the depth. But meanwhile, going on in the top side jungle, Pantheon is forced to flash out. They instead choose to go into the Darius, who flashes over the wall. They both so far are getting decently far away. Darius might have to use Ghost to get out of here though. Pantheon successfully gets out, but the Kiana gap closes. Tries to get the Q from the Darius, but the Ignite button ticks. And the Darius goes down while the Volley Bear has even more free time onto the bot turret. Twisted Fate just in also ends up going with the sword boots. Pantheon does come into the bot lane with the ultimate. Volibear takes the turret, but is probably going to have to trade the life in return. That gives time for the mid turret to also fall for Kiana and Mundo. Twisted Fate is going to have to get over there very, very quickly. Pantheon choosing to recall. This mid turret takes a little bit of damage, but it does seem that the wave is thinned out just enough that they're going to be forced back.
Yeah, with 2 different tier 3 turrets now exposed, I wonder if blue side are going to make their way over to the Herald, try to end the game with that objective.
With 2 lanes now with only 1 turret, they only really need the Herald, especially with bot lane now taking a bit of damage from the bot turret as well. It does seem like those who know is trying to set up some vision around the Herald themselves and going to go for it just like they did in the last game.
Yeah, desperation objective coming out. Let's see if MgmaCHEESE catch wind of this. They're all moving over there now.
They might be able to get it, but they don't have flash on the Darius of Pantheon. The Kiana is able to burst it. They do secure the objective, but they might not even be able to get the Herald Eye out of this. Darius does pick it up before going down, but with only Twisted Fate left, they might just be able to run it down mid and end the game against the Twisted Fate if they choose to.
Yeah, both Volibear and Mundo having the TP. We might see them go for a triple TP mid, but seems like they're going to play a little bit slower. Mundo taking that top turret, Kiana just waiting in the jungle. You have to think that maybe there was a missed end opportunity here. They're pinging Otacon, alright.
Looking like they want to go for the BM Otacon, even though they had the opportunity to end. They really wanted just to make sure that they secure this. They're already 1 up in the series. Twisted Fate is going to get cancelled out of the short range ultimate. Yellow card lands onto the Volibear with nice CC training from the Pantheon land coming in. Volibear is going to be forced to ult as soon as it comes off cooldown, or choose not to use it. He does choose to use it, but he's probably just going to fall anyway. He's going to lose that ultimate now.
Kiana 1v3?
Kiana is ready on the side. They're placing the Howard mid, 2.5 health though.
As the Ghost Blade has the ultimate.
Pantheon's no longer available to help with this Kiana flank. They are going to get the turret. The Kiana's already putting on some damage. Gets stunned out though. The spacing is ready to be good right now. But they don't do any damage to the Mundo in turn. Looks like they're all going to choose to back away together.
Looks like Kiana still wants to go for the Otacon.
Probably isn't able to solo it, but with the Mundo being as tanky as he is at this point in the game with the Warmogs, they might be able to take it. Volibear's TPing into mid rather than joining him though.
Even with all of the kills going down, it is still the voracious Otacon. Seems like it's really hard to spawn the Ruinous in these 3v3 formats.
Not enough bodies for the Kiana to kill to spawn it, seems. Pantheon is just caught completely overextended for vision in the bottom jungle. That is no longer their jungle, it seems, especially with them wanting to take this Atlacan. And with all of them there, Pantheon dead, Waves pushed in mid, Wave somewhat pushed in bot. They are gonna have to make sure that they juggle this damage correctly though. The Kiana's already chunked down to half.
Yeah, we're 3 weeks into the season, we still don't know how voracious Otacon does damage. Pretty interesting.
Kiana's gonna back away. The Volibear and the Mundo should be tanky enough by themselves with the shielding and the healing to take it, but you'd think that they should be able to deal with it at this point, but Kiana is gonna come into mid, deny the Darius' push, and they do take up them GAs. Volibear flashing onto the Twisted Fate. Pantheon is going to go for the mid turret.
Interesting, a desperation play here. They actually did TP the Pantheon in, I guess maybe looking for that mid tier 2 while Twisted Fate stopped the backs, but didn't end up working, so maybe a waste of a TP from the Pantheon.
And they lose the Twisted Fate ult, but he does get out alive. Mundo and Volibear might just be able to end it 1v2 against the Twisted Fate, with the Kiana landing a massive ultimate under the turret. Pantheon is able to survive a little bit longer than expected, but it does die. The flash comes out from the Kiana. That is amazing trade back, and it does pop the GA, but we might need to get back to help his Twisted Fate here. The ultimate for the Volibear is going to turn off the turret. There's going to be a free kill onto the Twisted Fate. You gotta think that's game. Darius isn't able to get back in time. Yana's gonna TP on. Dr. Mother's TP BMing in front of it as well. They're gonna go on to the kill for the Darius before ending the game. Darius gets a good damage trade onto the volley burn attempt, but now they are going for the fountain.
Yeah, we've got the 6-pack Mundo coming in.
Yeah, the minions end up the game.
Yeah. Definitely a little bit of BM at the end there, but with that, that will be MgmaCHEESE coming in with the clean 2-0 sweep.